AfterBuzzers, it's another week and sadly, another untimely death. You know what that means. We're right back here talking episode 6 of The Purge, so stick around.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
No.
Here we go.
You'll know what time it is.
I'm just gonna wait for it.
Okay.
See, we make it for voting, and then we bring up the mood. Right there. It's a 1-2 punch. Guys, it's the Purge After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV. That's right. It's that night, that time. Y'all know what time it is. My name is Ty Matthews. Joining me, as always, this fantastic panel. You've seen him before talking about the terror, Fear the Walking Dead. He's Mr. Danny Royce.
What's up, everybody?
To his left, our resident news and gossip hound. You've seen her talking about Claws, about Pose, about My Hero Academia. That's Jaimi Gray.
Hey guys.
And of course, rounding out the panel as always, our resident survival expert. We'll be talking to him later on about your favorite Purge survival tips, Mr. Ollie Drennan.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Got a lot to get into tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I think as we're serenaded by the soothing sounds of Rockwell, it has been a minute since we've heard that tune. That's a banger.
Remember that video, that music video?
Absolutely.
The most.
Michael on the chorus, so good. So much happened between Jane Barber and David Ryker,
right.
so we gotta get right into that.
Let's do it.
See, I was surprised. I was surprised at the end of last week when Jane was on her way to his house to warn him about who was coming after him. You know?
Yeah.
Jane, what the hell were you doing there?
I know. I wasn't quite surprised, but I was like, why? Why are you doing that?
I was surprised. I think it was just the shock. The shock of seeing that Allison had purged gave her this change of heart.
Yeah.
She figured, you know what? I can't stoop to that level. As awful as David might be, which we will find out is even more awful later on in this episode. But you know, she's decidedly anti-purge, it seems like. No matter who you are, even if you may deserve to get the shit kicked out of you here and there, she's decidedly anti-purge. So she decides to warn David, but something seems off.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Too good to be true.
Right off the
Yeah.
bat. I don't
Right
know
off
if
the
it's
bat.
just that Baldwin voice, but right off the bat, you knew something was off.
When he was even when you put it on lockdown, I was like, okay.
That's when you knew.
Exactly.
Right.
He wasn't locking purgers out. He was locking Jane in.
Yeah,
We
I was
knew
like,
that.
I just wanted to slap her, and I wanted her to feel it through the screen. What were you doing there? If he didn't answer your call or your text or your beeper message or whatever it
Leave
might
it alone.
be, let it go. Social media, make it something, but it's just like, let it go. Like, keep the same energy. I was so mad at her for even going there. It's like, we knew in the very beginning episodes, he had said, he was like, I'm watching you. He
Right.
said something around those lines, and he definitely
He's
was.
always
Always
watching.
watching.
Yeah.
There you go. He's always
Even
watching.
worse.
There's cameras. He probably saw Alice and he was just like, all right. He was probably sipping his coffee like,
He
all
saw
right, well.
everything. All right.
Exactly.
He probably saw, we clearly know what he saw because we saw what happened towards the end. We see Homegirl in the bathtub bloodied. And I think he saw all of that coming.
Right,
Ugh.
right.
I have my predictions, so
So,
we'll get into
but
that.
before we get to that revelation, did you guys that sort of rising sense of tension as he's showing her the art pieces?
Oh my god.
What did you guys think? Okay, here's what I want to know. What did you guys think was like going to be the last piece of art that he showed her? Because he was clearly on his way to something. What
Right.
did you guys think was going to be the revelation?
That's a good, go ahead.
Some freaky torture room. So,
Yeah.
right. Like,
That's what I thought.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought. I thought that he was gonna take her somewhere to put her in something to have fun with her.
Right.
I think that's where he was going. But the whole change of like heart, an anti-purge thing, like it played out with Allison, obviously, but as well as like I think her mom plays a big role
Yeah.
in it. You know,
Sure.
just like thinking consciously, what would she be thinking?
That's a good point. Very good point.
And I'm like, I actually had doubt in Bronca's ability to take out David from the beginning because it's like, okay, if he has like, okay, millions of dollars, right? He has to have like the biggest and best system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bronca can take him down like that.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
easily.
We know, someone like that's gonna be prepared. But yeah, to be fair, I was expecting something much worse. I was definitely expecting like the governor from Walking Dead, just a row full of heads.
Right.
But I don't know. I think what we ended up seeing is it's such a smart kind of commentary on this kind of culture that we're in now. You know, that party is full of rich white men.
Right.
They say that no penetration happens, no sex happens, everything happens over the clothes, and then the next morning they get to go.
Yeah.
As if like all of that is fine.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
No big deal.
It's over the clothes, so it's fine.
Open molestation was what it was. Was anybody shocked by that, especially with the whole Me Too movement going on?
Yeah, I was like, it was actually brilliant for
That's
the
the
TV
thing.
to bring it in.
Exactly. I was shocked at sort of how like kind of like subdued, but how on the nose it was,
Right.
you know? Like
Yeah.
the fact that he's clearly this guy that's like, look, I can't do anything without some woman saying I'm harassing her, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
I really appreciate that they incorporated that into this because also like it's like how much like killing like it's I mean that's what the Purge is about. There's so much about killing, but like what else
The
can we
other
also?
crimes.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so many other crimes that we haven't been like I guess given like the spotlight, and this is like the perfect thing to. I'm not saying this is great for David to do at all by any means, but it's like he's like, oh, I'm not killing them, but you're still abusing them and you're
Right.
molesting them, and like it speaks so highly of like the work environment between men and women sometimes, where men get away with this stuff that they do to women in the workplace.
It also brought in spotlight like the narrative that some people have now in the Me Too movement, like where men are the victims. No, not really.
Yeah. Let's look at the stats. Look at the numbers.
It's like I can't do anything, you know, and that's exactly what David was saying.
Exactly.
He played this victim role.
Yeah.
Right. And it's even worse because everything that they're doing is now totally legal, and it's like it's in that gray area. It's like you said, we talked about it a little last week, the fact that the Purge movies focus on the killing and the rioting and the arson and things like that, but there would be so many more sexually aggravated crimes during the Purge. So it's very, very kind of I was definitely surprised that the TV show is sort of shining a spotlight on that.
It's just very in your face.
Right.
Which,
Exactly.
Okay, I know in previous after shows we had talked about how I thought Rick was handsome, and then I had mixed him up with David.
With David,
But I actually changed my mind. David's kind of handsome. I don't know if it's like because he's a
Okay,
bald
sure.
head,
Don't fall for
But
it.
I know he'd probably purge me, you know, or something. I don't want to be like, I just don't want him touching me, but yeah, you know, I take it back.
Yeah, sure.
You take it back.
Such a dirtbag, that guy. That's crazy though, because it's the fact that he's so okay with the fact that Jane revealed, like, oh, I was gonna purge you, and he's kind of fine with it.
I was so surprised. So
Right.
first of all, to that point, I was surprised that happened off screen during a commercial break.
Yeah.
Like we don't even get that moment of her telling him,
No.
"Okay, I ordered a hit on you," and he was totally fine.
Yeah.
I get it.
But as
he
yeah,
knew.
exactly, because he knew.
He was
Yeah.
way too calm.
I was like, this whole episode, I was wondering where the group was. Oh my God, where the girl group? Where,
Yeah, I was wondering.
Oh, the
oh,
Nation
the,
Saint.
the Ronda Rousey.
I'm like, let's go. right.
She's ready to kill
Like, let's get
Silver
them.
Stray.
Let's call them.
Oh, and real quick, Anya, the girl, I feel
Oh,
like
that's right.
She represents kind of like women who are okay with this, like
Right.
the white supremacy, like
Yes.
kind of
Right.
like it's okay because they're not the ones being abused, and like
I feel,
you know, like
so I feel like her portrayal and her kind of role in this could go one of two ways. It could be that you know, she's pretty white woman, thinks that, you know, as long as it's not me, it's
Yeah.
fine. Or on the flip side, I was thinking about it could be just the person that like she hates it as much as everyone, but she just realizes that this is the game, you know?
Yeah. He plays
David
it.
says that
Plays
that's
it.
how she got the corner office,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
She's kind of like
she's okay with the gender role.
She just
Exactly,
she's in
yeah.
the corner like,
right.
She just
As long
not
as
being
she's taken
touched.
care of.
Exactly.
As long as she's taken care of. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but I love that we even get a bit of that misogyny from David, even when we find Bracca's body in the bathtub, and he says, "Never send a woman to do a man's job." Even when it comes to murder, he can't not be an asshole.
Literally. Yeah, that was
yes.
crazy. And even when I first saw her in the bathtub, I didn't know that it was her until they actually panned on her face.
Right.
That was crazy.
And then we see that, because if we hadn't seen that gunshot wound, we could have thought that maybe, you know,
Right.
she's just knocked out, she's
Yeah.
just unconscious. No, we know she's She's Danceville,
gone.
y'all.
Says you
She's
put up a
gone.
fight, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says she put up a hell of a fight too.
I wanted to see that fight scene too.
I know.
I was rooting for
I
Bronca
really
so
wanted
hard.
to see a little bit more action.
That's
That would've been great.
yeah. That I'm kind of bummed about the fact that we did not get a chance to see that
Right.
fight.
And you know what? When Jane first goes to David's house and she's like, "Yeah, so how's it going?" Well, he goes, I did a little bit of celebrating." So I'm guessing that's what he was doing.
Of course.
But I remember you had asked earlier as far as what we thought that other art piece might be. So I'm really happy that she did not go down that elevator. But had
That's a
she,
good point.
Had she gone down that elevator, would it have been a different room, or was it the room that he was
Yeah,
initially going to
exactly.
show
Oh,
her?
that's a really good
with,
point.
You know?
Yeah, we don't even
Maybe
know
we'll
if this
find
is the
out.
worst. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It might not be.
Oh boy. All right, we'll get into the rest of the show in just a few minutes. After Buzzers, we got a real quick word for you.
I got a word for you, After Buzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and a ton more. But there's no network that works harder to serve television fans like we do. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they're totally optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did it, and we'll shout you out on the show.
All right.
Make sure you leave a comment, 5 stars, likes.
There we
Yes.
go.
be
Yeah,
AfterBuzzer.
absolutely.
Spotify.
Now let's get into this whole saga with Miguel and Henry and Penelope. We left off last week with both Miguel and Penelope being tied up in that witch's tent. Henry is about to do away with them both, but we get a lot. We get kind of a lot of supervillain monologuing from Henry,
Yeah.
even down to the line, "We're not so different, you and me." I'm like, we're really going full Bach villain here. But he wants to take out Miguel's eye first, then kill Penny in front of him, and then finish it off. What did you guys think about this kind of whole back and forth?
I'm like, Henry, if you're gonna kill him, kill him.
Do
Stop.
it.
Let's
Just
do it.
do it.
But of course, he needs to rub it in. He thinks
Right.
he's got it. But I'm like, okay, my boy Miguel, he's practically a Navy SEAL. He's gonna get out of this. Like, I wasn't too nervous at all,
No.
because Miguel is just so OP. Like,
Exactly.
but
I mean, I did think that one of them was going to be like extremely hurt. I mean, they're both tied up. We haven't seen Penelope like kick anybody's ass yet.
Sure.
And I've been wanting her to. When they
Right.
were tied up, I was wanting her to, like, while Henry was like, his back was to her, that she would just do something. I'm still rooting for you. So
Did you think that Miguel might have actually lost his eye?
I didn't think that he would have lost his eye or that he did, but when you heard that scraping
Right.
sound when he was across the skin.
Oh, about across his beard,
Yeah,
but we thought
I
it was.
thought he was like peeling
Right.
or shaving off his skin. And I was like, I was ready for it. I was like, yeah, he's just gonna be a little bit faceless. Like, that's what I thought it was gonna be. But he was still good. So I was like, maybe he's just shaving. He's like, let me just hook you up real quick. Give you a quick lineup.
Get your line up now.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I thought Miguel was gonna have a little cut. I didn't
Right.
think he was
Yeah.
gonna do too much damage.
A little something.
Yeah,
full
but
scar.
then I'm like, okay, Henry's taking too long. He's thinking and planning things out, and that's how you know, like, that. Then there's something's gonna happen. You know, if
Exactly.
his mind is taken off of what he really needs to do. So yeah, but I thought it was a great scene as far as like just the three of them finally together in one space on Purge Night.
Yeah, and especially after what Miguel did to Henry's eye.
Right,
Like,
right.
why wouldn't you tie his feet too? Like, you never.
He's so, yeah. Come on now.
Come on.
well, he
Come
should have
on.
tied his head or something.
I know,
with
seriously.
That headbutt.
But we wanted
Yeah.
Miguel to live. We're like, he should have killed him.
Just saying. You gotta think about these things on
Right.
Purge Night, y'all.
Right.
So eventually, yeah, he's, Miguel escapes. He escapes from the handcuffs, beats the holy hell out of Henry, chokes him out, kills him with a chain acting as a garrote.
Right.
Frees Penelope, and then it's up to them to kind of escape out of this carnival.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It was kind of crazy though, because I felt like Henry was the one at first Henry was the one that broke the siblings up, you know, after Henry beat the crap out of or
After Miguel beat
Miguel
up
beat
Henry.
the crap out of Henry, but then now they're reunited through Henry.
Right.
And then Miguel finally finished the job, so it was kind of cool that like this horrible trash character brought them back together.
Right.
You know?
Well, even to that point, let's talk about sort of the tension between Miguel and Penelope at the beginning of that scene. Penelope is trying to tell Miguel, like, look, I didn't want to be reunited with you. I wanted to see mom and dad again.
Right.
Girl.
She's still in this mode of wanting to die.
That
gotta
was
get it
surprising. That was surprising for me because I thought she'd let it go. And first off, and that would kind of be heartbreaking to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, I've been through all this, and you're gonna tell me you didn't want to be saved?
You know what kind of night I had?
That's the thing.
Like,
That's
what?
a good thing to remember is that this is all happening in one
one
night.
night.
I did this all for you, Penelope, and this is what you give me. Like, as her older brother, I would have been pissed.
I know, I would've hella
like,
pissed.
come on.
Yeah.
All that I went through.
I'm just wondering what's going to be the shift, if there is going to be a shift.
Right.
Finally, that's going to get Penelope like, no, I don't want to go into the invisible. Like,
Right.
I want to live and be with my brother.
I feel like where Penelope stands right now is I feel like it's gone from a place of wanting to go to the invisible and buying into what this cult is selling to, I feel like the reason she wants to die now is she sees what the purge has done to people and what it's done to her brother, and she just wants to be done with it all, you know?
Yeah.
She just wants to be back with her parents and just not even have to worry about it anymore.
Because she's thinking like, dang, I gotta go through this again next year.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care about the sales and the specials. But my thing is, did they ever talk about what her parents went through again? Like, where it could... What I'm saying is, remember when we saw her parents actually being killed?
Sure.
Right.
So do we know? But yet we're thinking in our minds about her on the Blessed with the blue cult, that she wanted to go out. You do what I'm saying? I'm trying to like wrap my head around it. That she wanted to go out the same way that they
parents
went out, but they didn't actually like close the lid on the fact that her parents were dead, and they're telling us a different story from their own perspective that hasn't really quite come together just yet. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope that
From which perspective? Which do you mean?
from my understanding, we found, remember at first we thought that her parents were part of maybe this cult too, that they
Yeah.
went out a certain way. And then later on, a few episodes later, we find out that they were actually killed off.
Right.
Now, we didn't, get the full story on why Penelope in her mind is thinking, they went out a different way.
My interpretation of that was always that she knew that they went out fighting. I don't think she ever believed that they gave themselves over willingly, but I think she still ultimately felt that it was for the greater good, that they might have fought, but they still gave their lives to something worthwhile.
Poor thing.
Yeah. I'd also think that and also like she was really young and like to forget and kind of like make yourself believe something over the years. I think this is kind of like what she made herself believe, and then the group validated her belief.
Exactly.
Especially being separated from her brother once he went to the Navy SEALs or to the Marines.
Right.
But it's like, for me, I want a solid lid on that. Like, I want to know exactly what happened. I don't want to just guess but let's go with that.
Yeah. Exactly. So eventually they make their way through this carnival. They're having to run from the security guards, which are being sicked on them by that cowboy that we saw in the last couple episodes.
But I tell you.
What else? Penelope's spotted by one of her fellow cult members.
Ooh, I'm gonna be like, girl, shut up.
They got a lot of
I don't know you.
I know,
Who is
I'm
that
like,
crazy girl?
big ass mouth.
Put that hood on.
Right. Who is this crazy girl? I'm somebody's granddaughter.
Somebody
Like,
purge her.
Yeah,
She doesn't even go here.
Right.
Yeah. Which, please refresh my memory
Yes.
just in case. But her grandfather, remember the dude who was like saying that
Yeah.
was his granddaughter? Do we find out what happened to him, or something else happened to
I
him?
don't think we ever did.
No,
I'm
pretty sure he
assuming
just
it's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering, like if he were to ever come back, I'm like, is he gonna spot her too? We
Could
might
be.
see him in a
He
future
might
episode.
end up saving her, maybe, if
Possibly.
he hasn't
Come on,
been
Grandpa.
purged already.
Oh, but I thought he got auctioned off.
I thought he did, because was he making a big commotion? They grabbed him
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Someone bought him.
He may have.
Grandpa.
If there's anything I've learned, unless we actually see people die, you never know.
Right,
That's
exactly.
true.
You never ever know.
This is true.
That's
I have
very
a
true.
prediction though, as far as everything, so we'll
Okay.
save that.
Okay,
Stay
we'll
tuned.
get to that. Let's talk about Joe, the guy we're finally getting to find out about.
Yes.
We've seen him under his mask these last couple episodes, but we finally get his backstory. This kind of blue collar factory worker gets laid off. Him and his dad. His dad looks like he's definitely at death's door.
Right.
They lose their jobs. They lose their insurance. What did we think of Joe? I believe his dad's name is John/JJ. I think that may be what I heard people call him.
Yeah.
But what did you guys think of this kind of whole saga?
I definitely think. Well, I was thinking that Joe was like the bad guy. Like I was like, okay, he's bad, but I think he's not. I don't think he's bad or good. I think even like one of the characters when one of the promos, while the commercials was saying that there's really no good or bad characters. I feel like there's there's lots of great characters, and I think he's not necessarily bad, but I think he's definitely a great character, and I think he really stands into like that vigilante category.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we don't necessarily know a lot about his motivations exactly.
Right.
We got a lot of his backstory, but we're still kind of hazy on exactly what his mission is.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this, it seems like he could be the closest thing the Purge has to Batman.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
who knows?
Yeah, he gives off Batman vibes to me.
Yeah, I think he's definitely more good than bad because
for sure.
and throughout the episode they were kind of saying like, oh, you're like a gummy lifesaver or something. And then even in the flashback, someone was like, oh, you're a provider, Joe. So I think he is kind of like someone to trust.
Yeah,
In this untrusting world.
Yeah. In those flashbacks, he was presented as such a pure, kind of wholesome good guy, you know?
But I think like being laid off and everything that he had to go through really like toughened him up and kind of darkened him a little bit.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about that scene where he's channel surfing and he's just seeing, just slowly, channel by channel, the world kind of descending into chaos. You know, he's watching reports of war and of people losing their jobs and of just all of these awful things, and we can see that sort of like snapping on his face, like something's going on, while his dad is dying in the background.
He's hacking at his life.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like everything over and over, and I think it just created this rage in him to do something about something, and maybe that motivates him to save people who can't help themselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, I just feel like I don't know. It's different when he went to the podcast channel or whatever. He just he just went blank, and then he just really focused on the message.
Yeah.
So I just saw, I don't know, that was like the creation of whatever he was doing.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Joe, like as Cassandra said in the chat, she said Joe is a great guy. I think before he probably never even purged ever. He's probably just a great guy. And once he was laid off, which a lot of people get laid off, let's be real, in fantasy world or in real life. But I think that it kind of had a crescendo effect where he's like, all right, it's building, just like with each flicker of the channel, it's just building and building and building.
Right.
So I think that he just wanted something to do. He's just like, well, I'll purge. Let's just do this just to kind of get over it. And to me, it's almost like an immature way of thinking. But because his dad is dying, which do we know if his dad is his dad working with him purging? Do we know that yet? Or
No, I don't think so.
Dead.
I think as
Yeah.
far as we can tell, he's purely a solo act.
Solo. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Because I don't know. His dad, I'm a little questionable about it, but I'll save it for
Just
later.
because of how sort of aggressive he was about his boss, do you think?
Yeah,
he was pretty
Which,
aggressive.
I have a prediction about it.
Because
so.
we see Joe and Eileen, they're sort of their boss. I don't know, not necessarily foreman, but kind of the boss of the Satakoi company. We see them, sharing smiles, but John keeps kind of admonishing him, like, look, she's not your friend, she's the Grim Reaper. And then, of course, like clockwork, shuts the whole thing down.
Yep.
Everyone's SOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called it.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
It's definitely interesting because I think like maybe his mindset is kind of like I can't do anything in real life, like, but I can do something on the Purge night.
Right.
Like I can't fight for my rights or anything in everyday life, but in the Purge I can actually fight and help people and save people and help myself in a way. So maybe that's his motivation.
It just
Definitely.
will make him happy, but I mean, realistically, I'm like, it's just not a good enough reason.
Right.
That's what I was thinking too. But
Like he was just getting discouraged in his job search, and it's just, to me, it's almost like too close to home for a lot of people, and it's just like that's just not a good enough reason for me.
Right. And I'm wondering if maybe there was a period where he was just purging anyone, and then he realized maybe I can use this for good. Maybe I can only purge, the bad guys. I was hoping that we would find out a little bit more about who this sort of motivational speaker is, who this person is that he keeps kind of like listening to, and who sort of like converted him kind of. Right. I'm hoping that we get more about that.
Yeah.
Let's get into the story between Rick and Jenna after they've escaped from the NFFA party.
Yeah.
They've left Lila in the dust, but that's kind of created its own set of complications.
Right.
What did you guys think?
I was happy they made it outside, you know, into some fresh air, which from what I remember from the last episode, when Jenna was knocking on the door for Lila, we didn't hear anything, right? We didn't hear anything.
Right.
And David, Rick. Rick just kind of seemed, just both handsome men, but they just both seemed like, Rick just kind of seemed in his feelings about it, like, why do you care so much? He's really frustrated by this. And I have predictions about that too. I'm really excited about my predictions today. But I feel like Rick definitely has something under his sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's good for either Jenna or Lila. So I'll just leave it at that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't think she was dead either. I never
Oh,
thought that Lila
heck
was
no.
dead.
I
If
didn't
it's
think
not
she was
on
dead.
screen, like you said,
Exactly.
they're not dead.
When we heard that call where Jenna's calling Lila and she says hello, it sounded calm, right? She didn't sound like she was in any dire situation yet, or at least to me. And then you hear a voice saying Lila's dead. I have a prediction about it. I'll save it.
Interesting.
I
okay.
actually I guess I'm wrong, but I thought Lila was like in on the raid. Like I thought she like knew that it was coming, because she doesn't seem like she was like really. Like doesn't seem like she's behind her parents completely.
Right.
I don't know, but maybe she loves her parents and she wants.
Well,
to.
I think we heard a little, I think, from Catalina about the fact that she doesn't trust anyone named Stanton,
Right.
no matter what. So I
Exactly.
think it could be a little bit of both. I think Lila definitely isn't fully on board with her parents, but she's still in the crosshairs of the anti-NFFA kind of regiment. But it's this whole argument between Rick and Jenna. That's most of their scenes was just kind of, it was very dialogue heavy, you know, which is kind of something sort of surprising and something sort of new for the show. Rick is coming from a standpoint of, look, I would do absolutely anything for this family, even if it means pulling the trigger on that gun. And on the flip side, Jenna is like, look, I would rather you do anything but that, basically. What did you guys think of kind of their differing viewpoints?
Well, I didn't really trust Rick from the beginning, just because he seemed like he had a different motive, you know, going to the party and all that. Like, he was just gung-ho and ready to live out his dreams, not really thinking about what Jenna wanted.
Yeah.
And then the whole, like, Jenna and Lila type thing, I think it's always been a thing for Rick, like, I'm trying to win my wife over or win her back.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And so I think at that point, he's willing to just do whatever he needs to do to keep her. So I don't know. Rick is onto something, but I got to.
Oh, for sure.
I like this comment in the chat from
Yeah.
Cassandra. She says, "Money is what he really is in love with."
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm wondering if
Yeah.
like, is he really doing it for Jenna, or is he really just doing it because he grew up poor? You know?
Exactly. We
Yeah.
got a lot of that.
So I'm wondering.
Got a lot of that.
Yeah.
I want to trust him, but then it's like, okay, we're grilling him so much, but what about Jenna,
Right.
who's still in love with Lila?
Exactly.
So it's kind of like I see both of the sides of their argument. So it's really hard to kind of like, even Lila, she said in one episode previously, she's like, well, every dollar out of the NFFA is still out of my dad's pocket.
Right,
So it's kind of like, oh my God, you know, I have to
It's
pick.
tough.
I have to pick a side.
It's tough, yeah.
Right, and it's sort of it's like a chicken or the egg situation. Did Jenna fall in love with Lila because she was falling out of love with Rick, or did she fall out of love with Rick because she was falling in love with Lila?
Yeah. It's different.
Which also, when Rick was saying, "Oh, you love her," I was like, "Whoa, we're at love. We're at the love stage now. Like, she's in love with Lila." I thought it was a little bit much, but maybe she is.
Yeah.
I think in Rick's head, that's absolutely where he would jump to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's jumping to conclusions. But, you know, that's how guys are. I think that maybe Jenna. This baby might have been like something to kind of save their marriage,
Right.
not that threesome. It clearly
Right.
ruined it.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Clearly ruined it.
If we've learned anything from Dr. Drew and from Loveline, it's that
Yeah.
you never have threesome with anyone you have feelings for.
Right.
Exactly. But maybe she started to garner feelings for Lila after the.
I think it was after the fact. I think
because she was like,
once over time.
"Damn."
Sure.
Something.
So eventually, we get a lot of kind of the back and forth between them. We hear a pounding at the door at the end of the episode. And of course, there is a bloody but still alive
God.
Lila
Of
course.
pounding at the
Of
door.
course.
Ooh, well, Leo in the chat brings up a good point.
What's that?
He says, Jenna doesn't act like she loves Rick until she gets the call that Lila is quote unquote dead.
That's a good point. That's when we get that whole eggs conversation.
Now that we know that Lila isn't dead, she'll probably go back to being unresponsive to
That's
Rick.
hilarious.
So that's hilarious. Thank you, Leah. That is a good
Very
point.
astute observation.
right.
Well, we will get into all the predictions that you want to get into. Let's get into a little news and gossip first.
Yay! All right. Okay, guys, so I wanted to get into our cast now. If you guys watched our after show last week, thank you. If you didn't, what are you doing? Watch our after show. It was lit. We had Jessica Garza in our studio, and I wanted to kind of just look up to see kind of what she's been up to. So I have a photo of her and Henry, a.k.a. Dylan Arnold, and here they are together. She's just smooching his bloody face. I guess they made up. Yeah, I think she was just like, I like him like this, which I like kind of seeing them together when they're kind of behind the scenes. So there they are together. And they also have another photo of her and Gabriel Chavarez, who is also playing Miguel, her brother. So I like seeing them together as well. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Absolutely. With the show, with a show this tense, it's nice to see people like having a good time behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's like, who's yeah. So also into another character, we have Colin Woodell, who plays my lovely Rick.
There you go.
Okay. I don't know why I was mixed up Rick and David. They're both handsome men. I'll let it go. But here he is with this cute doggy. He is, as we mentioned in our other after shows, he is working on a new project. It's not a small film. It is a remake of The Call of the Wild. So if you guys are not familiar with that, it is coming out next year, and they are filming right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So you know, if you guys want to keep up with these cast members, you can follow Colin at Colin Waddell on Instagram and Twitter. If you've been watching our after show, of course, we review the show, but many other people review the show as well. They rate it. They kind of see what they like, what they don't like. So I was checking up on tvseriesfinale.com, and they were looking at the USA Network ratings. So this was updated earlier this month, about a week ago. And just based off of total viewership, you know, The Purge is beginning some great reviews and some not so much, but according to USA, it is one of their top rated shows.
Nice. Here we go.
Yeah, so if you look at those numbers, this is what networks usually look at. It's all about the viewership. If your TV channel is on USA, you are of course adding fuel to the fire. So if you want to see a new season, keep watching, and of course keep watching our after show.
Eating out Suits, that's surprising.
Yeah, I know, Queen of the South, but that's a great thing. So
awesome.
as far as right now, we do not have any update if we're going to be renewed for a second season. But again, keep watching, and of course, keep watching our after show, and that is our news and gossip.
Nice.
There we go. There we go. And of course, because we've got a lot of predictions to get into, before that, we'll get into our resident survival expert. Here's Ollie Drennan with some
us safe.
Purge survival tips.
Yes, guys, thank you so much for joining us for the after show news and gossip.
I love your voice.
This is the survival guide for the Purge, okay? So this is what, episode 6. We were talking about where you need to stay, what equipment you need. Well, it's time to talk about something we haven't talked about. What are you wearing on Purge Night? This is very important.
There you go.
Gucci.
I have it. Okay, I was shaking my head at Lila when I saw her running from the people. Like, she was in a dress. She had her heels on, the loose jewelry. I'm like, you're gonna get caught on something. No, girl, no. So this is what you need. I got 5 essential items to wear. Okay? So hopefully you guys got this in your closet. So listen up.
All right.
Number 1, everyone has this. A good pair of jeans. You know?
There you go.
They're
right.
tough, you know, it's hard to cut through them. You know, it's just wear your best pair of jeans, okay?
Okay.
Pair of jeans. Number 2, a helmet.
Uh-oh.
You guys got a helmet? Watch your head. Your head's important.
Now, what kind of helmet are we talking? There's a few kinds.
Well,
I need to strap.
honestly, anything that's gonna protect your head.
Okay.
You know, a bicycle helmet will do just fine.
Sure.
You know, if you have a motorcycle helmet,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
to put those on, it's gonna shield you from any sniper.
Because you got to think
Steal
about
one from
protection, but
somebody.
you also got to think about mobility.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Right.
You know,
I
just
can't
you don't have to
helmet.
wear it all night. Just kind of have it like in your bag if you have a backpack or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
number
you hit people
3,
with that?
a fanny pack. Don't laugh. Fanny packs are very useful.
Smart.
If you don't have a
That
backpack,
is
a
true.
fanny pack, you can wear it across your chest. The guys are doing it these days. It's very trendy. Or just put it around your waist. It's totally fine. You know, don't laugh at the fanny pack.
Yeah.
I love fanny packs.
Safe-
Genius.
I
And
love
they
it.
come in a plethora of colors, okay?
Yes. I'm metallic.
Number 4, everyone needs to have this in their closet. Combat boots. You guys
Yeah.
got
Okay, there you
combat-
go.
I gotta
need
get some more.
Yeah, they look cool, right?
Yeah.
They're cool. You can kick someone in the face, defending yourself. You know, just put on some nice pair of combat boots. Or maybe if you have athletic shoes, those will help too. But
That could
toe.
work. That could work.
Yeah.
I prefer combat boots.
Steel toe.
Yeah, leave a print on
There
their
you go.
face.
And finally, everyone, you're gonna need your handy dandy bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
Of course.
I just don't trust people with guns these days. No, absolutely not. I hate me some guns.
Nope.
No. So wear this under your clothes,
Okay.
with your fanny pack, with your helmet, with your jeans, and you're good to go on Purge Night.
Nice.
I have
So-
3 out of the 5.
Okay.
There we go.
Amazon Prime.
That's
You
a
got that?
start.
Yes.
Do you guys have anything to add to my list?
No, that's good.
That's
you
a great
gotta,
list.
you gotta,
Thank you.
you gotta strike that balance between functional and fashionable.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, guys,
Thanks,
it's been
Ollie.
Ollie here with your tips and survival for the Purge after
There we
show.
go.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if you guys
There
can
you
see
go.
on the YouTube stream, but those nails, Ollie is killing it with his nail
Right.
game
Thank
tonight.
you.
I
Thank
think
you very
boys
much.
just like kill
On
people.
fleek.
I had to wear the short ones because the long ones, I'm saving those for Purge Night so I can stab people with them.
See, that's a bonus tip. That's a bonus tip for y'all.
We're ready. Thanks,
Some
Ollie.
clip-ons.
Yeah.
Now, we saw so much happen in this episode. We've only got 4 episodes
Four
left,
more.
guys.
Oh
we got
my
4
God.
episodes left. So with that said, let's get into some predictions. Woo.
Ooh, I can't wait for these.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
We should bet some money.
Love that theremin.
Who's ready?
All right. Well, since you're so excited about predictions, let's start with Jaimi.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. All right, so clearly Lila is trouble. Not only is she in trouble, but I think she's trouble. I think she brings a lot of trouble to this house. I know we saw a preview of The Neighbor. I don't really know what he's doing there. He's probably just upset because of all the commotion. Who knows?
He's just trying to sleep.
Yeah, he's just like, come on. Like, we had 2 hours left, guys. Please. I'm like,
close.
yeah, he's like, don't make me purge you now. So, but Lila, she's bringing trouble. I think that Rick wanted her dead, that the guy that was on the phone was probably the one that was trying to kill her. And then once he saw her on the camera, he's like, what the hell? I thought you were dead. Oh.
Rick is so
Right.
hot right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, he's just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
God. Like, he was probably really upset. But I also think, because we mentioned Rick being so money hungry, I think that he might use Lila as like not as a bribe, but there's another word for it.
Leverage.
Something like that, because
Interesting.
because of her parents who have the moolah, and he's like, I dare you, I got your daughter.
He
Now
could use
give
her
me
as
the
a bargaining
cash.
chip.
Wait,
Yeah.
blackmailing?
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
Vocab,
There we go.
vocab. So I think there's something with that, and I also think that Rick might be so upset. He's just like, you really love her. And he might try to hurt both of them or that baby. All this stress is going to give her a
man.
miscarriage or something.
You
Now,
know?
believe it or not, that was one prediction. I got 2 more. Okay, so Joe, G.I. Joe, Cotton Eye Joe.
That's right. So real quick,
Yeah.
we forgot to touch on the fact that at the end of Joe's saga, we see Jane Barber
Yup.
pop up on his GPS.
Yup.
So that being said, please continue.
Okay, so you guys are like, why is Jane on his radar? I think that with Sadakoi, maybe Jane was the one who maybe called the order to have everybody laid off. And so because he was maybe doing his research, he's like, no, I could be wrong, but it's a prediction.
Maybe Sadakoi got like absorbed by David Ryker's
David.
company
Yes,
somehow.
yes, and somehow she's
Yeah,
involved,
that's
and
what I
he's
was
like, Jane Barber, I'm gonna get her ass and I'm gonna go follow her.
Interesting.
That's where she is. He probably put a chip in her somehow, or I don't know. I don't know, but he's gonna find her, and I think that's why because like, what do they have in common?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think he's David's hitman. David could handle her on his own.
Right.
So that's up in the air, but I think I don't know. Last but not least, Penelope and the blue cult with that girl saying Penelope. I think that might give her like something where she's just like, I want to see my mom and dad again, and something might happen, and there might be this
no.
like big cliffhanger where it's like, is Penelope going off the deep end? So it's up in the air. Let me just make sure. Did I get everything?
Those are good predictions.
Oh, and also don't forget about Leader Tavis.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all the other people
Oh,
that
yeah.
were on the bus. Where are they? Who's riding that bus?
Right.
Anyway, that's my predictions. That was fun.
That's a good point. That's a good
Nice.
point. Who's next? Who's next?
Ooh,
Go ahead, Ollie.
Okay. Tavis is definitely going to show her face again, and I think hoping she's kind of the shift for Penelope to not go into the damn invisible for crying out loud. That I love what you said about. I didn't even think about that about Joe possibly targeting Jane, because I'm like, how did he get like her on satellite to begin with? Like, there was no stress signal sent out. So I'm wondering if he's gonna go after her and try to kill her, but then I think the Ronda Rouseys are gonna come and maybe we have not. That's not the last time we saw them.
no,
They're gonna come
definitely.
in and
Ladies.
kind of like intercept that whole thing. I think with Lila, Rick, and Jenna, I think Jenna's good. She's pregnant, so she's not gonna die. So I think she's safe, but I think Rick or Lila's gonna die.
Yeah.
One of those two, and I think it's gonna be Rick. I think
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. Lila's definitely trouble, so
Yeah.
Oh, for
Right.
sure.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
it's like it's kind of like you want to trust her, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you're just causing trouble for these people.
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
for
what do you
me,
think?
I think Jane's gonna get out. That's not the last we've seen of Ronda Rousey,
The Ronda Rouseys.
because Jane still has their card.
Yeah.
So I think she's gonna make that call. I do think that Joe is looking for Jane to save her. Because I believe Jane's mom sent out the signal.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
I think that's he has a service of going to save people instead of purge them.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
then also Penny and Gabe are gonna have to fight off through the night. I don't know what's gonna happen to them.
Right.
And Lila is gonna end up letting the neighbor in, because in the first episode I didn't trust the neighbor. He was just like jealous or looking at them and just.
Oh,
going.
that's right. I forgot
So-
the neighbor was in the first episode.
Right.
After they
I think-
left, yeah.
Right. So I think when they let her in, he's gonna get in.
Oh, man.
He probably heard them while they were doing the threesome. He's like, if y'all don't shut up, he just wants peace and quiet. He's like, you can't have everybody as your neighbors.
not saying-
What's that saying?
You-
Put a
Oh my
fence up.
God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dan, you nailed it. I was
Dying.
about to say the exact same thing.
Right.
I feel like Joe is sort of a guardian angel that her mom might have sent out. I'm not sure if her mom has made it. I don't know if she's gonna make it through the night, but I feel like one of her last things was to maybe send Joe to protect
Yeah.
Jane no matter what.
Exactly.
So who knows? We'll see.
It'll be
We
amazing.
will see next time, same channel, next week, talking to episode 7. Ollie, where can they find you? Let's go down the
Hey
row.
guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the chat with us live. I'm Ollie Drennan. Find me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer.
Hey guys, Jaimi Gray. You can find me on Twitter at It's Jaimi Gray or IG at Jaimi Gray. Also tomorrow on Disney News Weekly for all my Disney fans. Thursdays for How to Get Away with Murder. And of course Tuesdays earlier today for all my anime fans for My Hero Academia with Ollie.
Yeah.
There we go, Danny.
Hey, Danny Royce here. You can find me everywhere at I Am Danny Royce. Also tomorrow, Star After Show, Thursday, Empire After Show, and The Walking Dead on Monday.
There you go. Guys, as always, you can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA. That's Twitter, that's Instagram. Find me on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood on Saturday afternoons and on Wednesday nights on the Lucha Underground After Show. That's 9 p.m. Pacific time right here on AfterBuzz TV. We will be right back here next Wednesday night talking Season 1, Episode 7. But until then, stay safe.
Yes.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.